Imagine, it's a glorious day. The sky is clear blue. The sun is glowing and the birds are chirping. But all this is just outside the window. Unfortunately, you are sitting inside in a gloomy classroom in the university and you're stuck behind the screen keen to check your grades. The self-service lags, as usual. You reload the page once, twice, thrice, only to stumble upon a gloomy F across the modern physics course. It's preposterous. You oscillate between rage and despair, with rampage on your mind, clenching your teeth and fists till you lazily furious half-moon indentations in your palms. But then, you consider time travel and the fact that the passage of time is dependent on your perspective. And then you wonder, can I go back in time to fix it? You decided to conduct some preliminary research on this issue and you found very interesting facts. Renowned physicists theorize that wormholes can make it possible. Wormholes are tunnels that allow objects to traverse enormous distances in an impressively short period of time by creating a shortcut from the starting point to the destination. In fact, wormholes using magnetic fields have already been created in laboratories, even though it remains ambiguous whether scientists can create them using the very fabric of space and time. Moreover, it is theoretically possible to travel to the future by circling a black hole or traveling with an enormous velocity and allowing the effects of time dilation to run their course. In fact, astronaut Tony Whitson has resided in the International Space Station for an extended period of time and consequently returned aging 20 seconds less than her normal age if she had stayed on Earth, which could be interpreted as her traveling to the future on Earth. However, the spaceships of our time would not be able to withstand traveling with the enormous speed required to make a considerable difference in time. During your sample research, you started to imagine your journey to the past. We are now in July 2018, and you want to go back to April to have enough time to study hard. You jumped into a time machine and traveled back. On departure, 5 minutes have passed according to your wristwatch, but everything else tells you went back 3 months. But just a minute. Don't you think that the time travel idea can cause serious logical contradictions? The most famous of these contradictions are the grandfather paradox and causal loops. Let's start with the grandfather paradox. If you decided to go back in time and kill your grandfather, believing that life is not worth living, killing your grandfather means that you are not born, and so will not travel in time and consequently will not kill your grandfather. This means that your grandfather is still alive, then you will be born and travel in time and kill him. Mind-blowing, right? To solve this dilemma, some philosophers believe that although we can travel to the past, we will not be able to alter any events because something will happen and prevent us from making changes. For example, when you hold the gun to kill your grandfather, you will hear a distracting noise that prevents you from doing so, and so on.
Was that me or was that you?
Someone's trying to kill me!
Okay, we'll do something about that right away.
But does it seem logical that every time you will fail for some coincident event? Now, let's move to the other paradox, causal loops. Imagine that you decided to start your own business, and so bought an iPhone, went back in time and sold it to Steve Jobs, and kept repeating this. If Steve Jobs buys the iPhone from you, and you bought the iPhone from Steve Jobs, then who is the inventor of the iPhone? Thus, backward time traveling will lead to the sudden appearance of things out of nowhere, and you will not be able to know the origin of these things. Now, although you thought that the idea of time travel might be possible someday, you realized that too much modern physics is required to make it happen. So, you decided to start studying modern physics again in preparation to repeat the course, hoping that you might travel in time someday. you.